Hello and welcome to CVR English. You're watching Big Story. I'm Idris and today we're going to discuss about Donald Trump. Donald Trump processed and released from Fulton County Jail on Thursday, that is August 24. He is surrendering to face charges brought by District Attorney Fani Willis that he tried to overturn the 2020 election in the state. A hearing will take place at a later date. Trump posted his mugshot to X, his first post since being banned from the platform in Jan 2020.
My great honor to introduce the strongest gun sense commander-in-chief ever to hold office, President Joe Biden.
A year ago this week, standing here with many of you, I instructed the Attorney General to write a regulation that would rein in the proliferation of ghost guns because I was having trouble getting anything passed in the Congress. But I used what we call regulatory authority. A year later, we're here, we keep that promise. The NRA called this rule I'm about to announce extreme. Extreme. But let me ask you, is it extreme to protect police officers? Extreme to protect our children? Extreme to keep guns out of the hands of people who couldn't even pass a background check? Buy a couch you have to assemble, it's still a couch. If you order a package like this one over here, that includes the parts you need, the direction of assembling a functioning firearm, you bought a gun. Take a look. Take a look at this. It comes in this package. You can see it.
Judge Scott McAfee of the Fulton County Superior Court set bond for former president and current 2024 GOP presidential frontrunner Trump, and more than a dozen others were charged out of the Fulton County probe, including his former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, his former attorney Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, Kenneth Chesebro, Jeff Clark, John Eastman. Among others, the charges include violating the Georgia RICO Act, the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer, and more.
Buyers aren't required to pass background checks because guns have no serial numbers, these guns. When they show up at a crime scene, they can't be traced. Harder to find and prove who used them. Law enforcement is sounding the alarm. Our communities are paying the price, and we're acting. Today, the United States Department of Justice is making it illegal for a business to manufacture one of these kits without a serial number. And if somebody sells the ghost gun to a federally licensed dealer, for example, a pawn shop, that dealer must make the firearm and mark it with a serial number before reselling it. This rule is an important step. It's going to make a difference, I promise you.
These are surreal times in the United States. Even as the political system is gearing up for next year's presidential election, the legal drama being displayed out in various courtrooms is shaping the political dynamic more potentially than political debates. In fact, politics has been subsumed by the legal issues surrounding key political actors, most importantly former United States President Donald Trump. He will be turning himself into police in the state of Georgia, where he is likely to be booked at Fulton County Jail in Atlanta before being arraigned at the courthouse.
Sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out.
Well, this is only the latest one. Trump has been criminally indicted in 3 other cases, including in a federal investigation into efforts to overturn the result of the 2020 presidential elections, his alleged mishandling of classified material after he left the White House, and paying hush money to the adult film star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. In any other time and for any other politician, any of this world have been the end of the political road.
Begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay. We have just been through an intense election and emotions are high, but now tempers must be cooled and calm restored. We must get on with the business of America. My campaign vigorously pursued every legal avenue to contest the election results. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. In so doing, I was fighting to defend American democracy. I continue to strongly believe that we must reform our election laws to verify the identity and eligibility of all voters and to ensure faith and confidence in all future.
But such are vagaries of American politics today that Trump seems to using these as badges of honor. In his usual acerbic style, Trump has decided to hold a major news conference next week to present an irrefutable report on voter fraud from 3 years ago.
A new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. This moment calls for healing and reconciliation. 2020 has been a challenging time for our people. A menacing pandemic has upended the lives of our citizens, isolated millions in their homes, damaged our economy, and claimed countless lives. Defeating this pandemic and rebuilding the greatest economy on earth will require all of us working together. It will require a renewed emphasis on the civic values of patriotism, faith, charity, community, and family. We must revitalize the sacred bonds of love and loyalty that bind us together as one national family. To the citizens of our country, serving as your president has been the honor of my lifetime. And to all of my wonderful supporters, I know you are disappointed, but I also want you to know that our incredible journey is only just beginning. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
And this is not the only drama in town. United States President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden's shenanigans in the courtroom have not been any less riveting. He has been under federal investigation since 2019, and recently, after a plea deal on tax and gun charges against him collapsed, a special counsel was appointed by the Justice Department to look into his case, with a jury trial looking imminent, where President Biden has predictably stood by his son. The Republicans have gone after Hunter Biden, focusing on his business interests in China and Ukraine. In fact, only after it emerged that then President Trump had pressured Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to investigate Hunter's dealings with the Ukrainian natural gas company Burisma Holdings, where Hunter served on the board. Did the entire process of Trump's first impeachment start in 2019 for soliciting foreign interference in 2020 presidential election?
My
Biden would get 55 people at an event. President Trump got 55,000 at just one rally. President Trump increased his vote with African Americans, increased his vote with Hispanic Americans, won 19 of 20 bellwether counties, won Ohio by 8, Iowa by 8, Florida by 3, got 11 million more votes than he got in 2016, and House Republicans won 27 of 27 toss-up races. But somehow, Joe Biden, the guy who barely left his house, won the election? Maybe. But 80 million Americans, both Republican and Democrats, have their doubts, and 60 million Americans think the election was stolen. 60 million people, over 1/3 of the electorate. But no one in this town seems to care. Democrats don't care. Media doesn't care. 80 million of our fellow citizens have their doubts about the election 2 months ago, and the media and the Democrats say, nothing to see here. Of course, this town has been out to get the president since July 31st, 2016, before he was elected the first time. 4 years and $40 million on the Russia hoax, but we can't look into an election that 60 million Americans think was stolen 9 weeks since Election Day. Not one investigation, not one hearing in the House of Representatives. We asked for it. We asked Chairwoman Maloney. Mr. Comer and I asked for it. We asked Chairman Nadler. Nope, not going to do it. We'd welcome an Inspector General investigation, for goodness sake. Over 200 affidavits and declarations of wrongdoing, but no investigation in the Congress. No subpoenas, no depositions, no chance for question or cross-examination of witnesses. Why? Why won't they look into it? Why no hearings? Why no investigation? I think it's because deep down, they know there were big problems with this past election. They know the Constitution was violated. Article 1, Section 4. Time, place, and manner for holding elections shall be determined in each state by the legislature thereof. Article 2, Section 1. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature may direct. Look at Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania law says mail-in ballots by 8 o'clock on Election Day. Election Day ends at 8 o'clock. Mail-in ballots have to be in by 8 o'clock on Election Day. The Democrat State Supreme Court said, nope, we're going to extend the Election Day to Friday, to 5 o'clock Friday. Pennsylvania state law says mail-in ballots require signature verification. The Democrat Secretary of State said, nope. For 2.6 million ballots, she said, we're not going to follow the law. Pennsylvania law says mail-in ballots can't be processed until Election Day, but some county commissioners says no, and allowed ballots to be cured, to be fixed, to be changed before Election Day. And you can imagine which counties allowed that. You can just imagine. Democrat counties allowed it, Republican counties didn't. The legislature determines the time, place, and manner of elections, not state Supreme Courts, not Secretary of States, not county commissioners. All of those entities took actions that directly violated the law that state legislatures enacted, and thereby violated the Constitution. But Democrats don't care. They don't want to look into it. They'd rather just belittle 60 million of our fellow citizens, call them names, say it's a conspiracy, make fun of the very people we're all supposed to represent. Well, guess what? Tomorrow those people will get a chance to hear the truth. Tomorrow those 60 million people, those 80 million people who have their doubts, they will not be treated with disrespect. They will be treated with the respect they deserve. Tomorrow there will be a debate in the people's house. Tomorrow the Constitution will be defended, and the American people will see the truth. They'll see how Democrats changed the rules in the days and weeks leading up to the election, created chaos in our election process. Tomorrow they'll see what late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg said. The ultimate date of significance is January 6th. And tomorrow the citizens of this great country will see why.
All the sleaze, corruption and political brinkmanship evident in these episodes is usually associated with third world countries with the weak institutions and personalized politics. Washington is usually at the forefront of advising such nations on how to conduct their domestic affairs, but today the shoe is in the other foot. The United States looks like a pale replica of its glorious past as democracy. It is unable to set its own house in order and is credibly across the world is being challenged with autocracies like China and Russia, trying to make a case for superiority of their own models of political governance. It is laughable, but that is what it has come down to in the age of Trump and Hunter Biden.
Spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory, a convincing victory, a victory for we the people. We've won with the most votes ever cast on a presidential ticket in the history of the nation. 74 million. What I must admit has surprised me. Tonight, we're seeing all over this nation, all cities and all parts of the country, indeed across the world, an outpouring of joy, of hope, renewed faith in tomorrow, bring a better day. And I'm humbled by the trust and confidence you've placed in me. I pledge to be a president who seeks not to divide, but unify, who doesn't see red states and blue states, only sees the United States, and work with all my heart, with the confidence of the whole people, to win the confidence of all of you. And for that is what America, I believe, is about. It's about people. And that's what our administration will be all about. I sought this office to restore the soul of America, to rebuild the backbone of this nation, the middle class, and to make America respected around the world again, and to unite us here at home. It's the honor of my lifetime that so many millions of Americans have voted.
Trump continues to see his support rise among grassroots Republicans. The more indictment he receives, the stronger the resolve of his supporters to send him back to White House. There is an alternative reality that shapes the worldview of Trump supporters, where their own nation's institutions are seen are corrupt and partial. Personalities tower over institutions, something that America's founding fathers tried so hard to avoid in the way they framed the Constitution.
Making that vision is real. It's a task, the task of our time. Folks, as I said many times before, I'm Jill's husband. And I would not be here without her love and tireless support of Jill and my son Hunter and Ashley, my daughter, and all our grandchildren and their spouses and all our family. They're my heart. Jill's a mom, a military mom, an educator, and she has dedicated her life to education. But teaching isn't just what she does, it's who she is. For American educators, this is a great day for y'all. You're going to have one of your own in the White House. And Jill's going to make a great First Lady. I'm so proud of her. And I'll have the honor of serving with the fantastic Vice President who you just heard from, Kamala Harris.
The Republican nominations process has already begun, and monthly debates among the party's nominees are starting next week. Trump remains far ahead of everyone else, with his campaign donations overflowing and his supporters being the loudest as his trials begin later this year. He will have to manage his court appearances with his campaign for the Republican nomination.
First woman, first black woman, the first woman from South Asian descent, the first daughter of an immigrant ever elected in this country. Don't tell me it's not possible in the United States. It's long overdue. And we're reminded tonight of those who fought so hard for so many years to make this happen. But once again, America's bent the arc of the moral universe more toward justice. Kamala, Doug, like it or not, your family, you become an honorary Biden. There's no way out. To all those of you who volunteered and worked the polls in the middle of this pandemic, local elected officials, you deserve a special thanks from the entire nation. And to my campaign team and all the volunteers and all who gave so much of themselves to make this moment possible, I owe you. I owe you. I owe you everything. And to all those.
Well, Trump's supporters believe in his assessment that the legal cases against him are aimed at preventing him from another White House run. Their strong conviction in this argument is reflective of how deep goes the social and political polarization in the United States, so deep that huge constituencies are willing to bet on the worst intentions of others due to the support for Trump in the Republican primaries. Instead of taking on the ex-president, his Republican opponents have been forced to criticize the weaponization of the American legal process.
I'm proud of the campaign we built and ran. I'm proud of the coalition we put together, the broadest and most diverse coalition in history. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, progressives, moderates, conservatives, young, old, urban, suburban, rural, gay, straight, transgender, white, Latino, Asian, Native American. I mean it, especially for those moments, and especially for those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb. The African American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours. I said at the outset, I wanted to.
This breakdown of social order in the United States is now firmly embedded in its politics. Trump is just another manifestation of that reality. His campaign may or may not succeed, but the challenges for American democracy will continue for many of his supporters. The question is whether they continue to support Trump politically, knowing well the Biden had defeated him last time in swing states. The primary campaign is different from the national one, and most Republican voters will have to take it into account as well.
Represent this campaign to represent and look like America. We've done that. Now that's what I want the administration to look like and act like. For all those of you who voted for President Trump, I understand the disappointment tonight. I've lost a couple times myself, but now let's give each other a chance. It's time to put away the harsh rhetoric, lower the temperature, see each other again, listen to each other again. And to make progress, we have to stop treating our opponents as our enemies. They are not our enemies. They are Americans. They are Americans.
But Trump knows how to play to the gallery. Courtrooms will be his stage. The more media time he gets, the better it is for him to rally his base. His Republican opponents remain unimpressive so far, failing to make a mark. Trump's actions in the court and outside will continue to dominate the election cycle, helping him in easily entering the presidential contest. What this does to American democracy is, of course, another matter.
We stand on the shoulders of American heroes who crossed the ocean, settled the continent, tamed the wilderness, laid down the railroads, raised up the great skyscrapers, and won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and made America into the single greatest nation in the history of the world, and the best is yet to come. And proud citizens like you helped build this country, and together we are taking back our country. Our fight to drain the Washington swamp and reclaim America's destiny and dignity has only just begun. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never, ever surrender. Because we are Americans, and we are from Georgia. And our hearts bleed red, white, and blue. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together with the incredible people of Georgia, we have made America powerful again, our military. We have made America wealthy again, our stock market. We have made America strong again. Look at that arm. Look at that. We have made America proud again. We're proud of our country.
That was our today's big story. For more news and updates, keep watching CVR English.